Pitch pressure is the type of pressure that the hitter will be feeling when hitting in that environment. So the faster the ball is moving, the more realistic it is, the higher that pitch pressure or that difficulty is going to be. The less that the ball is moving, the less of adjustments that we need to make. Think of like soft toss. Kind of have an idea. It's not like we're seeing change-ups. It's not like the ball is going to be moving in front toss. So the different types of pitch pressures are going to kind of show or be married to what are we trying to get out of this. So when hitting off the tee, tee is the lowest amount of pitch pressure. When you're hitting off the tee, the ball is not moving. You know where the ball is. It's stationary. So essentially, you're not having to make adjustments to location. You're not having to make adjustments to timing. Everything is very much based off of you. Now, this can be good. This also can be bad. I've seen a lot of hitters that have essentially gone through and take hours and hundreds of swings when hitting off the tee, and then they struggle when they hit in a game. And it's for the idea, there's some hitting coaches that are not fans of hitting off the tee. Exactly that, in the sense of you're not hitting off of the tee in a real game, so why train while hitting when the ball is not moving? There's no time constraint. You're not worried about pitch selection or even swing decisions. When the ball's on the tee, we're swinging. So tee work is really important, can be really important. Just because you hit off of the tee a lot doesn't automatically mean that you're going to become a professional player. Also, because you don't hit off of the tee doesn't mean you're never going to be able to play professionally, or even at the collegiate level, whatever level your dream is. The most important thing, though, when hitting off the tee is understanding that there is not a time constraint. So you can put together the most beautiful, perfect swing when hitting off of the tee. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate into the game. So when you're hitting off the tee, understand that the ball is not moving. So you're not really working on game-like moves. It's more of like feel out a feeling, working on a cue, using a different training bat, trying a different drill, just warming the body up. Tee work can be great. Tee work can be detrimental. Simply on the fact that it's not realistic in the sense of that's how you're going to swing in a game. But that doesn't automatically mean that's a bad drill or bad thing to use. Just be mindful of how you're using it, why you're using it, and how long you're using it for. For pitch pressure, when working off of something like the trampoline, trampoline is going to be a next step above the tee. You still know that you're going to be swinging. You're not really guessing or having to change too much in sense of location unless how you're bouncing the ball off of the trampoline is wild. The main focus with this type of environment is going to be, we don't necessarily want to have a crazy amount of adjustments or pitch pressure. We don't want necessarily fastball, slider, changeup mix. We don't necessarily want too much of swing decisions happening in this type of environment, but we do want to make it to where there is some type of timing constraint. There is some type of timing that we're under, just like we are in a game. So when we're bouncing it off the trampoline, you only have so much amount of time to get into your loaded or ready or coiled position, whatever you want to call it. You only have so much amount of that time. Your feedback is going to be very much just based off of your ball flight. So when you're bouncing the ball off the trampoline, and this is also going to be the same thing for self-toss. So if you're tossing the ball to yourself, same kind of idea. There's a small amount of window that you have as a hitter that you have to get ready. Because again, you're under the time constraint of the pitcher. If the pitcher is going super slow, essentially you kind of have to change your load versus a pitcher that is moving very fast. Think of like a slide step quick pitch kind of situation versus like the high knee kick, Nestor Cortez kind of hovering it in the air kind of situation. There is a time constraint when we're going through and hitting in a game-like situation. So being able to have this self-toss or being able to have this trampoline effect, we're still able to keep that pitch pressure pretty low, But we do still have this timing constraint. We do also have a little bit of swing decision if we're doing the self-toss aspect. If you toss it really far out, if you toss it really far in, if you don't toss it high enough, there's a lot of internal feedback that these two types of environments are able to offer to a hitter. And I highly suggest these. I'm not saying that they need to replace tee work. I am saying that they do add that internal feedback, and they do add that time constraint to it without adding a ton of more pressure to the environment. So highly suggest trampoline where you're just dropping it. Highly suggest the self-toss aspect. But again, we're going to go down from the least amount of pitch pressure to the most amount of pitch pressure. Number 3 is going to come in as front toss. Same idea. We're just slowly starting to increase pitch pressure. We're just slowly starting to increase swing decisions. When we're doing these, it's not necessarily my job as the tosser to try and strike you out as a hitter. I also don't want to necessarily only put it in a certain spot. That way you can hit it. If we're needing to mix locations and we're not able to make those adjustments, this is where you slightly increase that pitch pressure because there is a little bit more variability when it comes to these pitches that are coming at you. But it's also not 95. It's also not 85. There isn't the possibility of like a little split action coming at you or anything like that. So this is where we're going to see that front toss start to increase a little bit. But you're still going to see bat speed numbers are going to be higher when we're doing tee work. They're going to drop down maybe a little bit when we get to self-toss trampoline. It may drop a little bit when we get to this front toss. You're also going to see a few other numbers, possibly exit velocity. A few of these numbers are going to come down a little bit. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It happens all the time, just on the aspect of you don't have that many variables coming at you. Not having to worry about, again, the type of pitch, the timing of the pitch, those different things. So you're able to kind of be a little bit more gung-ho in the sense of like, I'm swinging, I'm moving forward, I'm committed to this swing without knowing how good the pitch is going to be because you're kind of going off of like, well, it's front toss. It shouldn't be too difficult, but we are adding a little bit more of that pitch pressure in there. Following after front toss is going to be overhand seated BP. So think of it as like front toss, but instead of going underhand with it, we're just going overhand, kind of like little darts. Think of it as like a catcher kind of coming up to the ear. This is a really good one as well. Again, same idea. We're just slowly, little by little, increasing pitch pressure. So that way there's a little bit more variability in the sense of pitches coming at you, a little bit more swing decision, a little bit more not sure where the location is going to be. So this is where we're starting to get into a little bit more game-like kind of decision-making, game-like swings. Following seated overhand BP is going to be kind of like your mini hack. Just kind of shooting one type of pitch. You know it's going to be a fastball. You know it's going to be a curveball. Whatever it is, because otherwise you'd have to change the dials, you have to adjust the machine, whatever it is. This is the type of machine that you know what pitch is being thrown. It's not trying to overpower you. There is a little bit more kind of speed to it. Now, the reason that this isn't higher than like overhand BP is going to be because overhand BP, when I'm stepping and I'm throwing, I'm a human. Whoever is tossing these is human. So there is not necessarily going to be the same repeatable delivery, the same repeatable location, the same repeatable velocity. Machines are going to vary probably like 3 miles an hour over 1,000 pitches. Us as humans, we're going to vary probably like 8 miles an hour. Now, that is normal. Even regular pitchers, they'll throw their fastballs in like 6 mile an hour spreads. So like, it's not the worst thing if the person throwing BP is having a little variability. Same idea with location. We don't necessarily want to get into a rhythm of every time that this person is throwing it to me, I am swinging. It's not a bad mentality in the thought of yes, 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 no, and then reacting. But like hitting off of the tee, we're swinging. We're going. So we want to make sure that as this pitch pressure increases, there also is going to be a little bit more of that decision making, a little bit more to where the bat speed's going to come down because that decision making piece kind of increases, things like that. From that overhand regular BP, we're going to be able to get to a big machine. So think of your hack attacks, not the junior, the big ones, your hack attacks. Think of your eye pitches. Think as like your home plates. This is going to be where the velo can get up to like true 80, 90 in that range over the full distance. There's a lot of talk of bringing the machine closer and working reaction time. That does work. But in the sense of a 90-mile-an-hour pitch going and traveling over 54 feet, that's going to look a little bit different to the hitter than if it is a 50-mile-an-hour pitch from 45 feet away or maybe 40 feet away. It's going to look different. Now, reaction time may be similar, but the amount of time that the ball is traveling over the space, that is going to possibly, and it does, adjust how the hitter moves. Because the amount of time that it takes may be the same for the ball to get to home plate, but how the hitter sees and reacts to that pitch traveling over 54, 56 feet versus that 35, 40 feet is going to kind of adjust how they move a little bit. And so this is going to be the very last to a game-like pitcher type of pitch pressure that we're going to see. Some of these machines are able to go mixed pitch. So like your eye pitch, that's going to be able to go from like a 95 fastball to an 83 mile an hour slider within a few seconds. And so we do add a little bit more of the possibility of mixed pitch being thrown in. You will see the machine move though. So this is where it's not the full ultimate amount of pitch pressure. You are going to see the machine move. You are going to have possibly hear the wheels accelerate and decelerate for the different types of pitches that are coming. So there is a little bit factor of you might be able to kind of pick up on some pitching tells on what pitch is going to be thrown. But this is going to be the second to last type of pitch pressure, where it's coming out of like a big machine. The very last type of pitch pressure, the one with the most amount of pitch pressure, is going to be your game-like pitcher. It's going to be seeing a live arm. It's going to be seeing a real pitcher where they might throw a fastball. They might throw a slider. They might throw a changeup. They might throw all those for a ball. They might throw all those for a strike. You don't know. That is where we're going to have the highest amount of pitch pressure. That's where also we're going to see the lowest amount of bat speed. This is also where we're probably going to see attack angle, vertical bat angle kind of stabilize a little bit. When you're doing front toss, when you're doing those types of environments, the pitch is going to be descending a little bit more. So front toss, ball's coming up, ball's coming down. JP Fasone, former driveline guy, currently with the Boston Red Sox, has an amazing little blog talking about the descent angle of coaches doing front toss and what is more game like, what is less game like. And the thing is when you're doing front toss, the attack angle is going to be a little bit higher because they're trying to match the steep of the pitch. Bat speed is going to be a little bit higher. So those aren't going to be game like numbers for us. This is where when we're seeing a live arm, this is where we're seeing again, one of those big machines. When we start getting into this type of pitch pressure, this is where we're going to start to see, again, that bat speed come down a little bit because of those swing decisions kind of needing to be more evident throughout the swinging process and different things like that. So I hope this helps when discussing pitch pressure and understanding when looking at different things, why we use different types of pitch pressure. If I have an athlete we're trying to work on a brand new move, I'm not going to put him on a big machine. I'm not going to have him do it during a live arm, simply because in those situations, because how high the pitch pressure is, as an athlete, I don't want to fail. So I'm more likely going to go to what I'm used to doing, which is what we're trying to get rid of, rather than working on and focusing on the adjustments that I've discovered that I need to make. So we introduce a lot of the time new drills, new movements, and different things like that in a lower pitch pressure setting. So that way the athlete can gain a little bit more confidence when working with this new drill, when working with this new movement, whatever it is. And then we will then slowly increase that type of pitch pressure. So that way, if we do see like an immediate, when we went from front toss to a junior hack, front toss was really good. Junior hack, everything went out the window. we'll take a step back or we'll work on whatever we need to on the junior hack. If we're looking really good on the junior hack, then we'll just move on to the next type of pitch pressure. The more that we are feeling comfortable with our swing, the more pitch pressure we're going to add to kind of truly test how game ready is that swing. How truly good is that swing when you do add pitch pressure? When you do add more, does the swing break down? Hopefully it doesn't. But all this understands when discussing pitch pressure and how we use pitch pressure to either work on certain swing movements or allow for certain things to kind of show and come